Good evening. As Mary said, my name is Lori Larson and I am the Academic Dean for the St. Cloud campus. It is now my great pleasure to welcome our graduate speaker to the stage. Tiffany Aagards started at Rasmussen College in January of 2011 and graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice in September of 2013. Tiffany lives in St. Cloud, Minnesota with her husband and 3 of her 5 children. Her education in criminal justice allowed her to achieve her current position as the reporting coordinator for Minnesota Monitoring, Inc. with Stearns County Human Services Community Corrections. Please join me in welcoming Tiffany to the stage.
Welcome, family, friends, faculty, and graduates. My name is Tiffany Aagards, and I'm honored to stand before you tonight as a representative of the 2013-2014 graduating class. Getting here tonight has been a journey for us all. For some of us, our years attending Rasmussen College have been continually filled with emotional and physical trials throughout, while for others, not so much. My own personal journey to get me here to where I am tonight was nothing but eventful from beginning to end. This is my story. Within a few short weeks after I had registered at Rasmussen in 2010, I was diagnosed with cancer. My doctor insisted that I not wait any unnecessary amount of time, but rather schedule my surgical procedure immediately as time was critical. I was in shock, to say the least. Denial. I could not believe that this was happening to me, and now of all times, as if any time is better than another. But I knew that I needed to tell my family and my friends, and I knew that I needed to put my affairs in order and prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. And of course, I now needed to inform my program manager, Jeffrey, and my student advisor at Rasmussen of my new situation. Jeff had suggested that I take a lighter class load than I had first registered for at least the first quarter to accommodate for any recovery time I would need after my very quickly approaching surgery. He had even suggested that I hold off altogether on beginning classes until my medical issues were stable. But little did Jeff know at that time how strong my dedication and determination was to overcome any obstacle that would be put before me. I had put off my goals and my dream of becoming a college graduate for far too many years. Nothing was going to come between me and my degree, not anymore. Not this time, and certainly not like this. So what did I do, you might ask? I decided to change all of my courses from residential to online so that I could still fulfill my dream of obtaining my bachelor's degree in the criminal justice field. The surgery, however, did not go off without a hitch. In fact, complications arose while I was under the knife that left me open on the operating table longer than expected, with further problems than were first anticipated by my doctor. Nevertheless, 11 days after my surgery, I began my online classes as scheduled from my living room couch. Fighting through the excruciating pain I was left with after my surgery, and without the use of much prescription medication due to my intolerance for most pain relievers, still I pushed on in my studies. Weeks passed and I worked diligently to excel in my classes as well as my recovery, and I was doing extraordinarily well. Things were finally starting to look up. That is, until the very same day that all of my physical restrictions were lifted due to my surgery, and I slipped and fell on some ice and broke my coccyx. Yes, I did that. So back I went to begin another recovery process. I then spent the next 3 months sitting on an inflatable donut while continuing on with my studies, still all from my living room couch. It was becoming very apparent very quickly that I was destined to be an online student rather than a residential student. And as my second year included news that I had developed glaucoma and melasma, my third year brought yet another physical challenge. In April of 2013, I had been in an automobile accident that left me unable to use my right arm. I experienced a great deal of pain, and again, I was devastated. I was exhausted in every way possible. I was beginning to think that there were forces against me getting my degree. So again, I was being challenged. But again, I would persevere. With intense physical therapy with a therapist 3 times a week, and in daily in-house therapy, I was able to regain the use of my right arm with minimal pain and keep up with my fellow classmates, although I needed to take many breaks, and that also meant working longer hours on my computer. Almost 7 months have passed since I completed my last quarter at Rasmussen. I am happy to say that after all I experienced while attending Rasmussen, today, all of my bones are intact. I have the use of all my appendages. I am cancer-free. And after more than 25 years since I graduated from high school, I have finally achieved my academic goal of earning my bachelor's degree. But make no mistake, I know that I would not be standing here today if not for the countless individuals who would never let me give up, even when it appeared that all the cards were stacked against me. At this time, I would like to say thank you to a few of those people in my life. To my brother Dean, thank you for explaining to me in layman's terms the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning. You took that class too. And for being accessible to me both day and night for any and all assistance I needed regarding critical thinking. Thank you to my parents for putting your own lives on hold and for moving into my home for a short time after my surgery to help care for my children and myself. And to my mother, a special thank you for being the English guru that you are. Also, I want to say thank you to my son, Rich, for taking time out of his own college studies to explain to me that which is a null hypothesis and for teaching me FOIL. If you don't know what that is, you didn't have algebra. To my husband, Doug, thank you for keeping me company on many of the long all-nighters I needed to pull, for being my research buddy along the way, and for believing in me even when I did not. I know I couldn't have done this without you. Next, I want to thank all 5 of my children. Robbie, Ridge, Billy, Brody, and Sadie, thank you for your patience and for supporting me as I followed my dream. I hope that I've become an inspiration for each of you to always do the best you can without excuses and against all odds. And I hope that I have shown to you that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to do. The last person I want to thank tonight is Pat Grelson, Rasmussen's librarian and my guardian angel. I cannot tell you the number of times I corresponded through email and spoke with Pat over the phone regarding information that I required while doing research for papers. Pat would, of course, always find for me the material I would need to successfully complete the assignment I would be working on, and then I'm sure she would just go about her day, probably not even realizing how much she had just done to make my life so much easier. It was only a few short months ago that I finally met Pat face to face, and I was able to thank her in person for all she had done for me. I had been waiting in the library for a job fair to begin in the next room when I overheard a familiar voice. One only ever spoken to me over the phone. We both thought it was funny that we could recognize each other's voices, but having never met, we did not know what each other looked like. In closing, I just want to say thank you to Rasmussen College for allowing me this privilege and honor here tonight. I will never forget this night or this journey. And to my fellow classmates, thank you for challenging me each and every day. Congratulations, graduating class of 2014.